This is America. The greatest atrocity against mankind. American chattel slavery. If you traced your lineage, what would you find? Do you know where your roots lead to?
Celebrate the foundational Black American culture of freedom fighting and resistance with the first annual Arethusa 5K run. This cultural experience will honor our FBA ancestors and icons while harnessing energy from our past to power our future. There will be security at this event to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable experience. Arethusa Run is a cultural event for family and friends. Strollers and wheelchairs are welcome. The in-person event will include a free 1-mile fun walk and will be held on December 17th in Tampa, Florida. Unable to make the live event, you can also participate virtually anywhere from December 17th to December 30th. All registered participants will receive the official Arethusa Run finisher medal, t-shirt, and more with the ability to upload their race time to the official site. Live event participants will receive the time race scores, professional finisher photo, video, and your name will be announced as you're welcomed across the finish line. Enjoy the post-race after party and refuel with a traditional FBA breakfast. You can also help us settle fun family debates like sugar or salt and grits. Prepare with family workouts and runs and post on social media using the hashtag ArethusaRun. For registered info and sponsorship opportunities, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Click the link in the bio. Hope to see you all there.
Grace and peace, Black family. This is Vicky Dillard, your sister with the curly braids. And I want you to get ready for the new Master Elements project, The Spear and the Shield.
This vaccine isn't experimental. It's like a dandelion. You overlook it for their weird science.
DJ RP Beats and Sincere Love the God have taken this time during the pandemic to carefully craft the soundtrack to Black empowerment with hot tracks like God Mine, featuring Sadat X of the legendary group Brand Nubians.
We never die. I made an ancestral shrine. Let's see what's in the God's mind. Listen, I'm a law in a person, a sincere of the God. That mean your arms too short like Carl Anthony Shaw.
God painted me black.
God painted me black. Thanks for that. I'm a bitch.
A letter to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
Ashe to the ancestors. Dear Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, I just wanted to thank you for all the lessons you left us. So yes, I'm more than grateful.
And the controversial song Buck Breaking God today.
Why every black show they gotta have a transgender? Either I'm crazy or this gotta be a planned agenda.
Get ready, Black family. This is a much needed project. This is The Spear and the Shield.
Of seeing that a rapper from Migos died, I just wanted to go ahead and make a video about something I have a unique experience in. So I directed a bunch of rappers, people like Gucci Mane, Snoop Dogg, Lil Yachty, the list goes on and on and on, okay? I learned a lot of things, and I have left the industry largely over my political beliefs, but there is something I want to impart to people to hopefully, make some sort of change happen. So I have a challenge to rappers, and I know some of you still follow me. I know a bunch of the celebrity blogs still follow me from trying to get news from music videos and things like that. So here's the truth. The truth is this: a bunch of young Black male rappers keep dying. You know who's not dying? Record executives, the record executives that push for them to continue to make songs and create a culture that is obsessed with death, drugs, and sex, period. The industry is obsessed with it, but those record executives, they're not dying because they don't push this culture on their own people, but they're encouraging you to push it on yours, and they're paying you handsomely to do it. The reality is, I know a lot of you are good people, you're family guys. You're not the image that you put out there to the world. Why? Why don't you be the example? Stand up. I challenge you. Be the example. Make music about the culture you want to see. Don't just get online today and talk about how, whenever a rapper makes it, his own people take him down. Don't just make those videos. Don't be sad. Don't rest in peace. None of that stuff. Be the change you want to see. Inspire it in your community. Reach out to other rappers and say, we have to stop. We're being used. You've been used for a long time. You know, they create this paradigm to make you believe that you're so important and your celebrity status is worth so much, but in truth, you're a pawn in their game and you always have been. The government has wanted to hold down communities of people in different ways through different methods for a very long time. Their method in the Black community has been to use entertainment to create a culture obsessed with death, drugs, sex, and money, so that they could create a false paradigm of what happiness and what success really was. And in doing so, they created a world that also made people more dependent on government, and as a result, gave themselves more power. The record executives that push you to do this, to go and continue to profit off the backs of your work, they're in cahoots with the elite. They're in cahoots with the government. They want you to think you're important, but in truth, you're just doing their dirty work for them. So stop. They've empowered you in ways that are real. You have an audience. You have platforms. You have the ability to make change. So go against the grain together. They're more afraid of you all together standing up and creating a new culture that's built around family, faith, freedom, doing the right thing, valuing life, than they are of anything else. So I challenge you, use your power to do the right things. If you continue to do the same thing you've done, more rappers like this are going to die. How many have to die before you change the culture? And let me tell you something else. There's a reason the record labels pay us more to do rap videos. They don't tell you that, do they? Do they tell you that they pay us more to do your videos? Because they do. They do it because they know it's more dangerous. They do it because they know it's more difficult. And they do it because, frankly, there's a lot of money laundering involved. Those labels wash a bunch of money through. We don't do it, but we know the labels are doing it 100%. Okay, they're then taking the money off the top end, and you see on your royalty check, oh, they spent $150,000 on this video. Did they? Because we didn't see $150,000. Okay, so where did the money go? And to who? Their friend's company? A lot of times that's the case. Same thing with insurance companies. They charge us more to insure your videos. And it's because they know the culture that's been created. They know that the only possibility of a music video being shot up is on a rap video. And that's the truth. So change the culture. You have the power. Your people deserve it.
With vast intelligence, we mastered the elements. I'm unapologetic. They call me a black supremacist. Knowing that's a contradiction.
Peace.
All right, we are here.
Yes, we are.
We are here. Peace to the family. Peace, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SincereluvdagodCast. This is the Black Business Showcase. I am the God Sincere Love, here with my lovely co-host, nyctegur. What's going on, everybody?
What's good? Some chick named Star, Peace, Afro Elite, my sister, Crown 808. Thank you guys for tuning in, and everybody else that may not be in the chat. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Peace to the family. Peace, 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 man.
That was a heavy piece for me, by the way.
R.I.P. Takeoff, man.
Yeah,
R.I.P. to the young brother Takeoff, man. Go ahead, speak on it.
It wasn't that it was heavy. I'll just say this. Now that a white man has said it, maybe people will listen.
Somebody else said that to me earlier.
You know?
Like, yeah, black people have been saying this for so long. And the sad part is hearing this white man say it might actually make a difference.
Right. Sadly.
And you know, there is definitely some truth to that. But I also think it's the fact that, like he said in the beginning, he has a unique experience having worked in the industry, being a video director that's worked with a lot of these artists that are a part of this culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so he's speaking directly from that experience as well. And he's speaking directly to the artist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's putting out a challenge directly to the artist. And so, yeah, I thought that was powerful, man. So, you know what I mean?
It was. And he's right. You know, don't tweet about it. You know, don't just, do a social media post and then go revert back to the same shit that you were doing before.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to talk about it, you have to also do. You have to be the change that you want to see. So flip that shit. You know, when we were coming up, we talk about this all the time. Hip hop was different. The messages were different. You know what I'm saying? And I miss that. And shout out to you and DJ RP Beats, because I feel like I get that back, you know, through you guys. I really, really feel like I get that hip hop that I grew up on, that I miss and I love. I get that from you guys, but we need more artists to step up and talk about the things that our people actually need to hear and digest. Because as we know, food isn't just what you eat, it's what you listen to as well. So, you know, we got to get back to that. So shout out to y'all for bringing real hip hop back.
Appreciate it. Yes, indeed. And as y'all know, man, yeah, me and DJ RP Beats, man, we cooking. We got that Masters Table album coming real soon, man. I need y'all to look out for that pre-order coming soon, man. We're gonna have a link for y'all to be able to place your pre-orders so y'all could be amongst the first to get the album when it drops, to get the new merch, all of that good stuff. So the Masters Table is coming soon. Y'all gonna love it, I promise. What's going on, Mama Love?
Mama Love in the building. Peace, Mama.
Yes, indeed. So let me let y'all know who we got this evening, y'all.
Yes.
We got another episode of the Black Business Showcase just ahead for y'all. But hit that share button, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. Hit the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes. We do the Black Business Showcase. Now we're going to be doing the Black Business Showcase going forward Wednesday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. We got something else coming for y'all on Thursdays. We still going to have a Thursday night broadcast in the making for y'all, but it's going to be something a little different. So stay tuned for that as well. We got other stuff coming for y'all right here on Sincere Love the Godcast. So stay tuned for all of the new exciting things that we got coming. So yeah, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time will be the Black Business Showcase. We still do our regular broadcasts on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. As y'all know, we cover current events and talk about other important issues pertaining to Black society. So stay tapped in with us for all of that. But tonight, we have our sister, Minielle, and she was born and raised in Houston, Texas. She's a wife, a mother of two, and a daughter. She has been an avid reader of fiction since she learned to read. Having an active imagination has served her well as an actress, a reader, and an author. She truly believes that when you read, you should get lost in a world that is not yours and that you should find a hidden gem, a lesson that will serve you as you go through your life. A lesson that makes you pause and say, so true. Minielle is also a minister, an MD, a Reiki master, Yoni steamer practitioner, life coach, and the creator of the Christian meditation Medivotion. Her services can be found at www.peacebeloved.com. Minielle desires that when you read her books, you find the token of love, light, and manifestation that God intended for you to find. Enjoy your reading and peace, beloved. And let me put that banner up here for y'all real quick. Right here. And without further ado,
Minielle,
I would like to introduce to you our guest for this evening, Miss Minielle Douglas. How you doing, beloved? Welcome to the Godcast.
Good. How are y'all? Thank y'all again for having me.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Did I pronounce everything right? Do I have
you
everything
did
right?
come through. I was like, yes, that's my name. And I did all kinds of things. Trust, all kinds of things. So I was like, And Medivotion, yes, all of the things.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And I just to double check, I meant to ask you before we got started, but do I have everything spelled correctly going across the bottom of the screen?
Everything is good except it's .co.
.co.
Mm-hmm.
Just .co. All right, let me fix that real quick.
.co.
Let me fix that real quick. That's an easy fix.
And let me tell y'all, so while you got Minielle right, you got her name right. Y'all know I'm blind. I've been wearing glasses since 3rd grade, y'all. I thought it was Minnie L. Douglas. I thought that was a middle initial.
Hey, that's better than some other stuff. Trust.
What they be saying? What they be calling you?
Man,
what they be calling you?
I've gotten Mignon, Minielle. I just be like, dude, just say Minnie. Like I would say Minnie L if I looked at it too. Like so, no. People who speak French tend to get it right.
Okay.
When I lived in New Orleans, they got it right every time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I appreciate y'all though.
Okay, so we want to learn a little bit more about all of
Yeah.
that, man. So
All
what
the
we like to
steps.
do, man, we like to start off with the origin story of the guest. So take us back, to your origin and bring us up to speed on how we got where we at today.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's deep. Let's see. I don't know. I feel like I've been through a whole bunch of. It's like the labyrinth of life. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
I am an ordained minister. In full gospel as well as Baptist churches. Hey. I do have an MD. I'm doing consulting, not practicing as a physician at the moment. When it came to the novels, though, I started on a spiritual journey that I didn't intend to go on at all. I was reading some fiction and it turned into a whole line of things that I wasn't expecting. I started researching crystals, looking in yoni steaming, and then it's just led me into a deeper relationship with God. I will say I didn't expect that. And he just transformed it into a whole nother experience.
Wow. So the Reiki stuff, the crystal stuff, the steaming stuff, all of that was born out of your writing?
It was born before my writing. So I
Okay.
was reading a book, and the author was talking about how her lady was talking about yoni steaming and how Africans had done yoni steaming before in the past and how we needed to get back to this kind of space. And it led me to my own kind of journey. And so while I was working as a yoni steam practitioner. And basically, as I started working as a yoni steam practitioner, learning to use my God-given gifts in the way that was starting to trend in our community is what's kind of propelled me to start writing. So a lot of the spiritual stuff that happens in my writings, there are things that I actually have done. There are things that I do on a regular basis at Peace Beloved. Because the books are very much this joining of romance and spirituality together. Like I said, I like to get lost in stories, but I think you should get a little tidbit to take with you. Don't just waste your time. And so they kind of gel all that together. And so the books deal with Reiki. They deal with yoni steaming. They talk about chakra readings, and a little bit of life coaching happens too. But really that whole, and from the space of God as source, God as creator, God as the one who is propelling you forward, kind of thing.
Okay. How many books we got done so far?
Technically 5. 4 of them are out. My 5th one is in editing. I actually just released my 3rd book to the Power S series, which is the one that does the romance and spirituality together.
Okay.
And that one is called, here, I'll show y'all a cover. I got it right here. The 3rd one is Power of Honesty. And that's a marriage couple.
Let's see that. Let's see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Power S series is really about kind of walking in the divine feminine power that you have. And they talk about power, which is the male version of that, like really just walking in the power that God has given you to become who you were created to be. You know, we all have gifts, we all have talents, we all have things that we innately can do, things that we innately move in. And it's like we were put here for a reason. And so tapping into that, what you were put here for. And so that's what the whole series is about, watching as the characters kind of figure that out and go through it. So with honesty, it's very much about being honest with you. I need to be honest with me in order for me to get where I'm trying to go. If I'm not honest with me, I can't be truthful with you. Which was book 2.
That was book 2. Okay.
The Power of Truth.
So when you said the series and there's like book 1, this is book 2. Should people read them in order? You know, and not mix it up since it is a series?
Yes. So I have this is 1. I would read them in order technically, but I wrote them as standalones because I know sometimes certain things touch you in certain places, so you might not be there at the moment. So we can go in order. Power of Finding You is book 1, and that really goes through her finding herself. You get to watch her as she finds herself again, and how that led her to the love that she's always wanted. Every book has a male counterpart too, so you get to watch him go through the same process of finding himself where he is. I did my best to to tap into all the maleness around me, and ask questions because I wanted to make sure that the male voices were true. A lot of times romance novels give you a whole bunch of fluff, but in reality, like, what would his real response be? What is he really thinking? So I tried to do that. So yeah, that's Power of Finding You. And then book 2 was Power of Truth. Let me fix it. Power of Truth is about being truthful. If I'm truthful with you, then you can be truthful with me, and that changes how we handle our whole situation, our relationship, our conversations, all of it. And so you get to see as they learn to be truthful with other people and stop hiding all of the things. We tend to tell people what they want to hear, not what the truth is. And so if you're really truthful, though, it changes how things can go. And then the last one right now is Power of Honesty, which it really goes with truth. If I'm honest with me, then I know how to be truthful with you.
Got it.
Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. I don't think they do. Sometimes, what I'm saying, people will ask certain questions, or maybe we're just assuming, especially in relationships. Like, do you really want to know that? Like, how many before me, how many other people you've been with? Like, do you really want to know that? Or like,
that's a whack question to ask.
But people do, sadly, though, and I'm speaking from experience, you guys, and I'm in my 40s. It still happens. And I'm just sitting here like, honestly, when I'm getting to know someone, we're grown. Obviously, I have children. I've been married before. So clearly there was someone. Does it really matter the number? Why are you asking that? Like, what is it about you that needs to know that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it does happen.
I agree. I don't think that people always want to know the truth. I think we tend to ask questions we think we're supposed to ask. Stuff we're supposed to know. But I don't think we actually, some stuff is, like you're saying, isn't relevant. You don't need to know that. Right. How will that help us move forward? It's not. And it's so it's the past. It's, even who you are today wasn't who you were, 2 years ago. So it shouldn't even matter. They don't tell you who I am right now.
Right. So now, does that go back to being honest with yourself first, understanding who you really are in order to understand what it is that you need from someone else?
Yes, I would 100% say so. And continuing that process, because like you're saying, like, you're in your 40s now, I'm in my late 30s. What I thought I wanted or what I needed when I was 20 is not the same thing that I need right now. From myself and from other people. And you have to continue to be honest with yourself, continue to go through that process so that you can be truthful with other people, because we're changing, we're ever evolving. You got to be honest with you.
But do you sometimes dishonesty, and when I say dishonesty with self, sometimes that comes from, I believe, trauma, right? A lot of times you're not honest with yourself because of the traumas that you've experienced, and that dishonesty, I guess, helps you kind of bury that. But you still have to, in order to get past it, you have to be truthful with yourself, acknowledge those traumas in order to build a better life for yourself and your future partner, if there's, a future partner.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. We're not honest with ourselves for a variety of reasons. I also think that we can only be so honest with ourselves at certain points at a time. Like you're saying, a lot of it is self-protection. I'm not ready to deal with this. So I can't even think about it right, because I can't even write it in a journal or anything because I'm not ready for it yet. But we have to deal with it. At some point in time, you have to deal with all the things in order for you to get where you're going, because those things even the things that you're not allowing yourself to be honest about, they hold you back. Right. They determine how you move.
Right. I agree with what you guys are saying.
Erica's song, Bag Lady. It reminds me of that.
It's my joint. I agree with what you guys are saying, but I also believe sometimes it's not even a level of dishonesty with self. It's just a result of not having done the work to truly understand yourself. You know what I'm saying? To really know who you are, it requires a certain amount of self-analysis, right? And so you mentioned earlier about the characters in the books, going on a journey to find their purpose. So tell us about your personal journey and how you found your purpose and what led you to what you do in life.
Um, that is very wonderful. I'm sorry, I'm thinking. I I grew up in the church, and I have always had a desire to be a physician, to be a psychiatrist in particular, and so, but in that space, it has always been difficult because I believe that there are some things that science cannot explain. There are some things that you don't know unless God has intervened in such a way for you to be exposed to it. And with that, the more I grew in relationship with God, that devotional part, the more I spent time with him and hung out. And even if it's just us just sitting in his presence, allowing that peace to be there. And the more I kind of worked on me in the process and started asking, like I really had it to start. I've been married for 15 years, and marriage will do a thing, and so it requires a lot of work. And I had to really start asking about myself and allowing God to expose me to me. And as I did that, it allowed me to see where I needed to change. It allowed me to grow deeper with myself and where I am. And it just kind of trickled into something else I never thought I would do. Like I would have never thought I'd be a Reiki master. But then the beauty of all of the spiritual things, I think, is that how much they are intertwined. Because I remember sitting, again, I told y'all I'm Baptist, or I was Baptist. Let me say it like that. But I was sitting taking Reiki class, and even the idea of Reiki is very much like laying hands on somebody. And I was like, really? This is what we're doing, God? Like this is how this is working. But understanding how God created everything we needed before we were even, born, before we were even thought of, and how that really plays into how we can truly be. That journey has really it's taught me a lot about healing myself, but also about what's available for other people. And so my heart is for other folks. So I can't help it but want to give it away. And so that's where Peace Beloved. Go ahead, what you say?
I was saying, well, coming from the Baptist church, we used to lay hands being laid on us, with the holy oil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's similar.
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. When people, it's like but you have to be careful with all spiritual things. And I think that's the thing, because when we are in church, you're automatically like, it's God, and it's coming from God. And then when you start doing these other things, the ideas are different. And it's like, no. You find somebody who understands who source is, and source is God. Let's deal with God as the creator and the power of all. Then that changes how it's done. And the things he reveals, I give chakra readings at the end of my Reikis, because God, he tells me whatever he's going to tell me. Like we were talking about, whether it's whatever the trauma is, or whatever it's whatever the problem is, whatever he reveals, I share, because I feel like this is your information to know, not mine.
So I don't want to assume that everybody watching, live or on the replay understands or knows what Reiki is, or knows anything about the chakras or anything like that. So, just put those terms in layman's terms for people.
Yeah, let's do it. So Reiki is very much. So if you read it on the internet, it's very much like aligning your inner person. Is what it is. It's making sure that all of you is in the same space. What that means is, if I'm troubled, right? If my heart is broken, if I'm holding on to past hurt, if I'm upset because what I wanted to happen in my life has not happened, right? All of these things interfere with you figuring out what you need to do next. They interfere with you working on what needs to happen next, because we have to deal with those internal issues of failure, or I'm not enough, or I'm not, whatever it is. So Reiki is about kind of touching and agreeing with you, and let's go ahead and release all that stuff so that you're in a nice, clear place, so that you can move forward and do the work. But the thing about Reiki is it gives you a nice clear place, but you still have to go and do the work. If you don't do what you need to do in devotion or do what you need to do in learning yourself or bettering yourself, then you're not going to, it's not going to stay. Chakras are kind of the way I think about it like this. Chakras are the way that man has created to understand what God put together. We are made up of multiple people. I mean, not people, but things. What I mean is, like, we're mind, body, and spirit. They all of those pieces, they come together, and chakras are a nice organized way to look at that, to look at your past, to look at what you do know, to look at how you are tapped into God, to look at your heart, to look at whether or not you can, talk easily, or because of something that happened to you before, you can't talk as well as you used to. And so chakras kind of organize that in a way that we can visualize, so that we know where to touch, or so that we know where to say this is where it hurts. Because a lot of things, I mean, God is omnipotent, right? He knows everything, and in his sphere of things, like, we couldn't fathom, right? And so that's the whole idea. Man is trying to organize it, and so that's what the chakras do. They give you an organization of kind of your being.
That's a very dope explanation. That's a very dope explanation. Yeah, it sounds like the way that I think about religion. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, I think about religion kind of in the same way. It's just us trying to interpret, you know what I'm saying, these spiritual principles and put it in terms that we can understand and learn how to navigate through it all. So, medivotion.
Yes.
Is this a term that you coined?
It is.
Okay, explain it. Medivotion.
All right. Medivotion is the marrying of meditation and devotion. So when I started on my journey of all these things, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some meditation. Let's figure this out. This whole mindfulness thing. Let's be here in this moment. But what I realized in that space was, when you actually are centered and you get quiet and you learn to just let all of your thoughts kind of just go through, and you're really in that moment, you feel God's presence that's always there, but you're too busy to pay attention. And when you get in that space, it's very easy for you to either just sit there in the peace, because that's what you need, or for him to start saying stuff that you need to hear. It's easy to enter to that space of devotion where he give you scripture and you reading it, or you find the revelations that you've been seeking for. And so medivotion is the marrying of the two. You enter from meditation into devotion.
I like that. Now, I have a hard time meditating. I have tried so many times. It's hard for me to quiet my mind because there's always something going on. So meditating is not something that I find easy for me, but just I have my prayer place, right? It's like the only place that I can really get to where it's peace, and it literally is the shower, y'all. It's crazy, but that's the only time that I can actually have that time to myself. Lock the door so my son can't come up in there, and not ask me any questions. I can ignore everything, but that's literally my prayer sanctuary, if you will. But I still cannot. I've gone places to try and meditate, and when we're sitting down, they're like, breathe and doing all the breathing exercises, but my brain is still full of what I have to go home and cook, where I have to go tomorrow. Like, it's the hardest thing. How do you clear your mind? How do you, ignore everything going on to get to that place?
At first, you don't. I think what it helped me, so there's multiple ways to try, right? So some people will be like, focus on the breath, focus on the breath, focus on the breath, right? And truthfully, you can, but at first I used music that I already knew the words to. So I would play like Christian worship music that I already knew the words to. So I'm not really focused on the words, but I am listening to the music. That helps because you need somewhere to concentrate, is what it's really about. With the thoughts, I'm the same way. I got 2 kids. I understand. It's always on. With the thoughts, don't try to stop them. Just let them go through. That helped me. Let them go through. But don't because what happens is you'll be like, oh, I need to go to the grocery store. Then it's like, oh, what do I need from the grocery store? Oh, no, I don't want to buy that. Oh, no. So then you start interacting with the thought. Don't do that. I need to go to the grocery store. Just let it go. Then something else will pop up. Just let it go. And just keep trying to, and when you find that you because you're gonna eventually like think on something. When you start to do that, that's when the coming back to the breath works. That's when, because it's like, okay, no, let me find my focus again. Let's take some deep breaths. We're gonna focus right here. Or let me listen to this. We're gonna focus right here. Some people like to have a place to look at. So like they'll look at fire, like they'll have a candle burning and they'll look at that. Or they'll look at a spot on the wall. But it's about giving your mind a place to focus. And then eventually what happens is you'll realize you're no longer thinking.
That's what I wanted to ask, though. Does it ever get to a point where you're not having any thoughts?
You're
I don't think I've experienced that.
It's weird. It's weird. I won't lie. It's weird because we're so used to there always being something happening. And even the first time, I remember the first time when I realized I was sitting here with no thoughts at all. I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, what happened now? Because we're so used to there being things, but you get to a place where it eventually just becomes clear. And it's just clear. Nothing is happening. And it's a peaceful moment because again, it's almost like if you cut off your phone for the day and left it alone. This feeling of just being with yourself for one moment. What you was explaining about being in the shower and closing the door and trying to lock your kid outside. It's because what you really want is just to be with yourself for like one moment. When it gets clear, it's like, oh snap, I'm just here with me. No worries, no issues, just right here. And that's a beautiful space for then God to be like, yeah, but so am I, and then it turns into that. But yet don't fight it. When you fight it, it makes it worse. Just let them go through. And then too, like really, and even if you sit to meditate, think when you're in your environment, because mindfulness is about being in your environment, like being here in that space, whatever that space is, finding things that your brain likes to focus on. Like for me, I notice if I have a fan on, fans make a little weird noise. I like if I listen to that kind of helps me to give me a focus. But that works for me. So really kind of, if it's just the coolness on your skin, if it's whatever it is that allows you to focus in, that's what you're searching for. And then eventually it clears. But don't fight the thoughts. Let them go through.
Yeah. I haven't experienced that level yet. I'm very cool with being in my own space, being by myself, and just having a quiet moments to myself. But yeah, I never got to a level where I escaped the thoughts. The thoughts are always present. It's not always disturbing though. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I embrace it. I don't try to fight it. You know what I'm saying? I go through the thinking process, to try to figure things out. I believe that's where I get my downloads from sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'll come up with, new creative things. I will be breaking something down to myself that I didn't even know that I understood. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But I'm curious, to experience just the nothingness of it all. I'm curious.
The nothingness is good. I like the part that you're talking about too, though, because that's the other part about like learning yourself, right? Because we have some, like when the surface stuff that we always are thinking about kind of goes away, and as the thoughts come in, it allows you to really see what you're really thinking about. Like what's really playing in the back of your mind that you don't necessarily have time to concentrate on for a long period of time. It allows those kind of things to come up. And all of them aren't bad. Like a lot of times people are always like, oh my God, it's something like that happened that was so horrible. No. Sometimes it's good stuff that you just haven't had time to pick through yet.
Right.
So yeah.
So you do life coaching as well, right?
I do.
So what does a life coaching session look like with you?
A life coaching session with me. I like to figure out where you are first. I do a consult first, of course, to see kind of where you are. One of the beautiful things I think, because of my training with medicine and even like this master's program with psych, is I know where all the layers are. So like life coaching and counseling and psychiatry are on the same spectrum. And because I've been exposed to all of them, I can kind of say, okay, listen, no, this is a little bit more than life coaching. We need to do something else. And so that part is given. And I like to tell people that up front, because a lot of times people don't really know where the differences are. And then we kind of just figure out what your goals are. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with a life coach? And then how can I be of assistance to you in that space? And you got to be ready to work. A lot of times people want help, but they don't want to work. Go ahead.
So I guess that's where I get confused at, because we hear this term life coach, but I never really understood what it was. I understand a spiritual advisor, perhaps someone who's kind of, giving you spiritual guidance. Then there's this life coach thing. So to you, I'm saying, Manil, I need help with my life. Work sucks. I don't know. My family is in disarray. Is that what people typically come to you for? Or is it something else? Because this is a new time for me.
Yeah, no. They will. People come to life coaches for everything. Like anything. It is almost like a spiritual advisor, but it's for other particular points, right? So I always tell people, you want to make sure that, so you're saying like a spiritual advisor, then you need a life coach that also has all of the spiritual pieces that you need as well. Because when they give you advice, or when they give you like a goal or homework or whatever to accomplish, they can put that in. So like for me, I can't help but put that in. It's so much ingrained in who I am and how I think that we operate in the world, that a lot of parts of my things are like that. Hey, okay, so you stressed out. All right, I hear you. All of this stuff is going left. All right, well, let's deal with your me time. What does that really look like? Right? Let's deal with your quiet time. What is that? When you say you have that, what does that mean? What are we doing? And really dealing with those moments when you should be having these spiritual encounters with God, and to help you deal with your issues. But a life coach is good for helping you set goals, and then being that cheerleader and that accountability partner to help you reach them. So they might give you some advice on how to do that, and they're going to give you goals so that you eventually are going to reach your particular point that you're trying to get to, but they're not going to dig so much into all of the feelings and the misconstrued thoughts and the like. There's a cutoff before it turns into a counseling session, is what happens. But people right now are okay with a life coach. It's okay to have a life coach. I'm not crazy. Right? And in truth, yeah, we all need somebody to help us sometimes. Sometimes you want to do some stuff and you have no idea what you're doing. And that's what the life coach is for. They also can be the person that you're venting your stuff to, but you don't necessarily need therapy, right? The day was just bad. And so but like people can go to life coaches for anything. That's why they have so many different kinds, business coaches, all the like. I do marriage coaching. Okay. Me and my husband would do those together. I believe that it's important. I think that we're not equipped the way we need to be for marriage. That's why people are getting have so many divorces. I do spiritual coaching, and I spend a lot of time in that whole postpartum period as well of life. And then people who you're trying to grow with you, grow a relationship with you, grow in relationship with God. A lot of times we say those words and you don't really know how to do that. And that's okay.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to ask if you work with couples or families. Do you work with children, like teenagers? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then of course when you work with kids, you do have to work with the rest of the family too, because a lot of what they can and can't do is based on the parent.
Now,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
No. I was just, you fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I would think, working with a teenager or like a child, that would probably be more on the therapy side than the life coaching side, right? And you mentioned earlier when you're trying to figure out what someone needs from you based on your experiences in the 3 areas that you talked about, you can tell when it transitions from life coaching needs to actual like psych needs. And
Right.
what are the differences and some of the key factors that help okay, this person needs a little bit more than just some coaching?
No, that's a great question. So to your first point, with children, little kids, it more likely is a therapy kind of situation. Adolescents can do some life coaching, like when you're kind of trying to figure out what kind of career goals do I want, or where do I want to go to college, or what do I want to do in my life. That could be a life coaching kind of situation. When coaching turns into therapy is when you start digging deeper into your kind of your thought processes and your feelings. So when we need to dig into kind of your past, or you feel like this and you feel like this because of this and this and this, that's therapy. If we're going to deal with, okay, no, your perspective is just completely wrong, and it's not enough for me to say your perspective is kind of off, but we need to dig deeper into why this perspective is off, and then that's therapy. Psychiatry, the MD portion of that, is more so like disorders. So these are the people who have real mental disorders that need prescriptions for them. And then they are that. But I think a lot of mental things are on a spectrum, like depression. Everybody's been sad at some point or another, right? And when you've been in this sad space, like a life coach can help you get through some things, give you some advice, let's do some tools, let's try some different things. But if we're at the place where you can't function, you're not getting through your day, it's not just I'm having a hard time, I really can't get through my day, I'm having a problem, my kids are being affected because I can't function, then now we're into therapy. Now we're into maybe we need to see a psychiatrist. And so I think a life coach is a nice place to start, and then you have the others after that.
You smart.
So, yeah.
You're
Now,
definitely smart.
I thought therapists were psychiatrists, kind of. I'm telling you, this is all these new terms, right? So I thought, when you go to a therapist and you're going down to sit with this person on the chair or the couch, that's the same thing as sitting on the couch with a psychiatrist. This is what I thought. So what's the difference then between a therapist, because I got life coach now, but therapist and psychiatrist?
So a psychiatrist's main goal is to give you medication.
Only goal.
That's the main goal. They will give you a little bit of like kind of supportive therapy, but they're not going to dig deep into what's happening and kind of coping skills and the like. They're going to kind of give you medication, make sure the medication is good. A lot of times people are like, I don't like psychiatric drugs because they make me drowsy and the like. Yes. However, a good psychiatrist is going to make sure that your medicine is dosed appropriately, but it takes a lot of time. A lot of times they'll start at one dose and it might not be enough. Then they might shoot too high and now you are all like spaced out. And so it's really a balancing act. So the psychiatrist is just trying to give you, unfortunately, medication and a little bit of help, right? They're gonna talk about some things, but it's not gonna be to the same degree as a therapist. A therapist is trying to dig into all of the areas. Okay, so now you have the medication. Now we can really do some work. Now let's deal with why you actually feel like this. Now let's deal with why you actually continue to have the same problem, right? The therapist is going to be the one that's going to really sit down and have those kind of conversations. When we watch TV and they're like the person is sitting in the chair and the therapist is on the other chair and they're writing notes, that's a therapist.
Gotcha.
So is it a psychologist?
It could be a psychologist. Psychologists tend to do they tend to do a lot more testing and things like that too. So there's all kinds of assessments and things that they can do. And so a psychologist will be able to do assessments as well as some therapy. Whereas like a counselor is only really trying to give you how to do therapy.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I don't trust psychiatrists. Like
No.
that, the field itself, I think, it's appropriate for like the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I have a real hard time with it. I was telling the viewers before, we had an incident with my son one time, and we went to go see a psychiatrist, and he didn't even talk to my son, man. He literally like leaned his head into the room. He asked the lady a question, and he said, "Okay, prescribe him this." And we left. We just left. I'm like, we out of here. Like, what is this man talking about?
I would have left too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
This is what I tell people. It's important, and this is for every doctor and technically every counselor or practitioner. You want good rapport, period. We as Black people, we need Black therapists, we need Black psychiatrists, we need somebody who is like us to understand where we are. You also want somebody who is not just a pill pusher. A psychiatrist is supposed to come in and to do a lot more than just that, what he did. He should have built that rapport with you. I'm a very big component that we need to treat us.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
There's just some things that you can't teach in a book. And that's where that comes from. But there is a place for psychiatry. I remember when I was in medical school, one of my things was, God, how will I know whether this is like a spiritual thing or whether this person really needs some drugs? Because I have a heart for children, and I don't want all our kids on psych medication, and right. And God was like, you'll know. And so, sure enough, as I continue through training, there's a difference. Some people do need it, hands down. Some people need it. And then some people only need it for a short span of time, just so that they can work. Because a lot of times the medication helps you to get in the right frame of mind so that you can actually do the other work. Because of whatever's imbalance, you can't do the work. But it's important that you trust the doctor.
Definitely.
Like when they start talking about giving those drugs though to children. I had a friend years ago who had a son, and he was hyperactive. One thing that I personally recognize, and I had only heard that term ADD from the mother. I had never heard it before. This kid was highly intelligent though. Yeah. Like super. When I would sit back and have conversations with him, I think he's just not being challenged enough, because he was just super talented and bright. I don't think the mother understood that, and nor did she have the energy for it, perhaps. And so it was just easy to give him medicine. And all that did was make him sleepy and tired. And I was like, I don't know about this. Have you tried to put him in sports? I would ask her. He's high energy. He likes to talk. He likes to draw. He likes to play games. It's so many things that he was into. He's just bright. That's all.
That's one of the reasons. Because then too, like the school probably was like, oh, you need to send him to see somebody because he's doing all these things. That's why when I say rapport, it's important for you to find somebody who believes the things that you do, or has the same goals as you, or at least respects what it is that you're saying. I don't want my kid on medication. What else can we do? Kool-Aid posted the whole herbals. Yeah. If you telling the person, hey, this is not what I want, what are my other options? And they are on the same field with you, like they're on the same level with you, then they'll be like, okay, we're going to put the medicine on. I'm telling you though, it's in my pocket, but it's over here. These are the other options. Let's try some other things first. And if we have to go here, we'll go here. And there are doctors like that.
They're trying to remove herbs from us, period, or our access to herbs right now. Hasn't happened yet, but they're talking about it, so stock up, y'all.
Right. Because they can't regulate. It's about money.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying 100% about the rapport and the trust. I'm so big on that, and I just think it's super hard to find. You know what I'm saying, for people like us, families like ours. Not just being black, but being conscious as well. You know what I'm saying? Because even online, and we've talked about this on the show too. We see a lot of black therapists on TikTok and stuff like that saying some things that are very problematic. You know what I'm saying? Like coming into the field, I believe for the wrong reasons, bringing certain baggage and resentment with them, and kind of weaponizing their position as a therapist. You know what I'm saying? And waging war, like causing these gender divides, and we see stuff like this a lot. That's why it's refreshing to have this conversation with you, as I can already feel the passion and your expertise. I could tell that you're thorough at what you do, but people are like you are not easy to find.
Right.
I unfortunately agree. I've met quite a few older, actually, physicians and counselors who are in the space that you're saying. And it could be that time has taught them to be in that space, and that's why they're there now, versus when they first come out. I know it's training for all these things is very difficult, and it plays a whole bunch of games with your mind, and it takes you having to go through or really take the moment and make sure that you're where you want to be, for you not to fall down some of the roads that the whole training will take you down. But there are doctors and there are counselors and PhDs out there who are on the same journey. There's a lot of us who are in these fields who are going through the same process of consciousness and herbs and the like, and have started to integrate that into their practices. And we just have to do due diligence when you're searching for these professionals, doing the due diligence and researching it and interviewing them out. Your intake is them trying to figure out if they can help you. Use the intake to see if they can help. Can you help me? Do I like the things that you're saying? Do I like the way that you practice? Do I like the approach that you use? If I don't, then we good, and it's the same thing. You should interview them back. It's important.
Anybody that you're going to be allowed. Yeah.
You heard me?
Yes, I did. I was going to say, anybody that you allow access to your mind and your spirit in that way has to be vetted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
They have to be vetted. So, but let me ask you this though. This is gonna be like kind of a fun question, but I'm interested in to hear from you. Is Ye crazy?
Technically, they say he has been fully diagnosed as bipolar.
Now he say he's misdiagnosed though. He say he was misdiagnosed. I'm just saying from your observation, your experience, your expertise.
I do think he has something. If it's not bipolar, it is definitely something. Okay. I think he does a great job, and they even talked about this. I used to watch the Kardashians, but they talk about this in how they dealt with, how she dealt with it, to some degree, because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we never get to see.
Of course.
And it's true. A lot of people who are very creative tend to be. It's one of the reasons they don't take medications. Because you know how you were saying, like when you get to your space and you're telling yourself these things, a lot of people who have that capacity and sit in that space, they tend to be a little bit not regular people. Because their brain doesn't work like that. I tell him, and this is going to sound bad, but it's true. You know how back in the day they used to say, like, if you met a psychiatrist or you met a counselor, something's wrong with them. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say earlier, I believe this field is not just something that you have to have proper training and education in, but you have to have a certain level of experience. Your own life experience has to come with it in order for you to be thorough.
Absolutely.
But I think people like Ye, and of course I'm not, expert, but I think people like Ye are more misunderstood than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, even like you know, throughout our history, you know, as indigenous people, whatever the case may be, we've always had like shamans and you
Yeah.
know certain type of people who are just existing on a different plane or are able to access different planes of existence that most of us can't understand, but nothing is wrong with them. We interpret it as something being wrong with them. You know
I
what I'm
would want to
saying?
sit with him like in a regular conversation,
Hmm.
because what you get on the camera is not necessarily his regular self.
Right.
Right.
He's performing. He's performing to a
He's
certain
a
degree.
performer.
Yeah.
So yeah, he might believe half the stuff he's saying, but then it does, what is he really, what is his real full thoughts? Who is he when all the lights go off? Because even as an actress, like, who you see in the front of the camera is one thing, but once you get the person by themselves, they tend to be different. That's who, and that's what tell us if he really crazy or not.
Right.
If he really got, because it you have to have a high. You have to have a high as a performer. But then when you come out in the back, a lot of times actors or performers, they have their low plays. It's like Beyonce
Mhm.
and her whole like shots of fierce moment
Mhm.
versus her by herself. Like, they two different people.
Right.
No, I think she's
Right.
So
weird.
So is she bipolar?
I think she's
Yeah.
weird.
no, she's not.
I
but we
mean,
but you but no, but see, and then that goes to like, if they were gonna go to a therapist, your therapist needs to be on the same in the same space with you. Because if you as an actor say one thing but then you say something else later, if I'm not in your context, and I'm gonna say, oh, you two different people, you have, split personalities. No, sis, I just perform.
okay. Okay. So I was having a conversation about this with somebody, and you know, they were of the mind that he's off his meds, and I'm just of the mind, like I said, that he's more misunderstood than anything. And you know, when I was asking him why he thinks that, and a lot of people when I hear him say that, they talk about some of the things that he said, the White Lives Matter, um, George Floyd didn't really get killed by a cop, and I'm saying, okay, but um, being crazy is not going to make you a coon.
No,
You
it's
know what I'm
not.
saying? It's not going to be based on what you're saying. To me, it's more
Totally.
reflective in your behavior.
It is.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But he
Hmm.
said to me, he was like, "How could you separate the two if it's your mind? It's directly connected to the things that are coming out your mouth." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's not going to make you racist." You know what I'm
No.
saying? Or you know anything like that? If you kind of off, then I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't computing to me. It wasn't
It's not
computing.
going to change the stuff you say. The only way you get a different whole kind of you say weird things because of the mental disorders, because you're delusional or you're psychotic, and that's not what they're saying. Which is
Hmm.
why I also was like, what does he actually sound like when he's not in front? Like, how much of this is him just doing something,
Right.
versus how much of this is really him? Because even if he has bipolar disorder, it'll just make him hype. Sometimes he just be real, real hype,
Right.
and then
I
sometimes he'll be real, real low. But it's not gonna change the words he's saying. No.
the words he's saying. That's the point I was trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
But I know he does have a hard time making a clear
Expressing.
point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's not very clear a lot of the times. He's kind of scattered with his
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. But I just feel like he's just trying to cram so much in. Like he feels like he don't only has so much time to say all of these things that's in his mind that he ends up going on these tangents. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's like a manic kind of situation.
Manic. I've heard people say that too.
People who are manic, they talk real fast,
Hmm.
and they go from one thing to the next,
Hmm.
and then they have lots of energy, and they
I can
make
see
you
that with
crunked
him.
up because they crunk, and you just like in the space, but and you can't get a word in edgewise, and they just keep going.
I can see that
I
with
don't
him
see
though.
him doing
I can see
that.
that with
I
him.
don't see that. Because
I
when
can see
he's
that with him.
talking, if the last few interviews that he's done, he's just sitting back, laid back now. When there's something being said that he doesn't agree with, he definitely challenges it. Like, wait a minute, I did not say that. What I said was, So I don't see like the hype, like I don't see him fidgeting in the chair, none of that. Like he's looking directly at the person that's interviewing him, giving direct eye contact. But I feel like he just feels that he has to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it. But I don't feel like he's just crump and acting. Even with the standing next to the car when he came out from his daughter's basketball game, and he was his point. He's not moving. He'll look up. He's thinking about what he's gonna say a lot. Like you said, he's trying to cram so much in, but he's not like hype. He's just sitting there and speaking very matter of fact to me. So I don't.
If anybody wants to see a clear example of Ye where he's very incoherent and not being clear with what anything he's trying to say, go back to the Ellen interview. He was wearing all white and he was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. That right there, I was like, okay, this nigga might need some medication. Because I didn't know what Ye was talking about. Like that was all over the place.
But that's why I was saying, like they were saying that when he is actually manic, he stays away from everybody.
Good.
And which he should. But like that's what I'm saying. I would want to see what does he sound like when nobody else, when all the cameras are off.
Right.
I understand why he doesn't want medicine though, because he's in an industry where he's seen for all these years, he's been in rooms none of us are privy to, and he's heard information that none of us are privy to, right? And so you hear the things about Michael Jackson and Prince and others, right? And he made that distinction. If I took this medicine, then I could be them. So I understand also his paranoia, if you will. We call it that, because I'll be kind of paranoid. And
to a lot of people who have bipolar disorder, they don't like it. Because and part of what they said too about him not taking his medicine was it stops him from being creative. They don't like it. And in truth, it makes sense. If I'm happy and I'm in this good place where I'm productive and I'm getting stuff done and and all of my juices are flowing and I can just make stuff happen, like would you want to come down?
No.
Right.
Normal would feel like blah.
Like a cage. A cage, yeah.
And so a lot of times they don't want to come down.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. If you've been
and to me, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you know what I'm saying, or yourself, then let them be.
But then that's like, that tends to be the problem. That's when the medication becomes a thing, because the problem is you don't know what kind of risky behaviors will happen, what other risky behaviors happen, because people with mania tend to, they tend to gamble. They'll spend all their money. They'll go buy up all kind of foolery. They'll go be hella promiscuous, and they'll start doing all kind of risky things.
They'll blow $2 million in one day. They'll blow $2 billion in one day.
They'll go do a whole bunch of stuff they wouldn't do, not in that episode.
Man.
So
okay, maybe you might got something.
And like Crown always said, he never dealt with the passing of his mother. I felt like that's when all this happened. That triggered something in him. Again, y'all, I can't imagine losing mine. I don't know what that was, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even like to think about that. So see him being the only child, his mother being his rock, the way she supported him, the way that she spoke life into him and taught him, and then to have that tragically taken away from you in the way that it was. I don't know. I don't know what that would do to me. I can only imagine. Mama, come on now.
Yeah. But my mom, she's the only one that made me consider that, because like I said, I don't really trust the medication. I don't really trust psychiatrists in general. But she told me, and this is something that I never knew, that my grandmother was bipolar. And I never, my grandmother was normal as hell. You know what I'm saying? But my mom said that's because she took her medication regularly, like she was supposed to. So we never seen her have no episode or anything like that. And so I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to that, because Nana was Normal as hell.
But your grandmother, was she an artist? You know, fashion designer? Was she, you know, a musician? You know, again, a lot of those medicines make these people tired and just sleep their days away. So I can't be in a creative space. I'm the head of a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar brand that requires me to always be on in a creative space. I can't take money and I have all these contracts that I have to fulfill. I think that's a question too.
And two, if it's balanced though, it should make them sleepy per se, but it brings it all down though, definitely to all the same point. Because you can be awake, but you still not in that space.
Interview with Charlamagne the God were somewhere in Calabasas in some land that hit, and this was after he was taken by paramedics or whatever. And so Charlamagne said, "Are you on medication?" And he said, "Yes." And he said, "What medicine are you on?" He said, "I will not tell you that." So he experienced the medication. He refuses to take it anymore. He definitely did it at one point.
Right.
Exactly. And the fact that it worked said that he might have the disorder, right? But it also explains why he wouldn't want to take it. And again, a lot of artists who don't want to take it.
Right.
And it becomes very much the people around you and you being, you know, cognizant of all the other things. What triggers you into this? When you're getting ready to go into, you know, whatever side, depression or mania, you know, how do you juggle it if you're not going to take medicine?
Right. Right. Yeah, man. I want interesting stuff. But let's bring this back around.
Okay.
Let's bring this back around here.
Oh.
Here goes your beautiful website, by the way.
Thank you.
Have you walk us through have you walk us through it. But do you have a physical place, a brick and mortar place?
No, I don't have a brick and mortar right now. Right now we're doing concierge services. I switched to like a concierge Reiki. A lot of people started working remotely and all the things during COVID. And so a lot of the services can technically be done either via online or come in a set space. Setting space in your space allows that space to kind of be still there. So if we have Medivotion together or we have Reiki together and there's all of the peace and all the things that come with those kind of services, it stays with you versus you having to leave it. So I'm doing some concierges right now.
Okay. And before you give us the tour of the site, talk about the name Peace Beloved and the logo as well.
All right. So thank you. So Peace Beloved. It came from in the Bible when Jesus is like tells the storm, peace, be still kind of thing. So the idea is at the end of our Medivotions, or even when we're speaking to people, we're just speaking peace into your life. You know, you are loved. We are supposed to love everybody. And so it's us speaking peace into your life. Peace, beloved.
Okay. Cool. We say that a lot over here.
Peace. Yeah.
And then the logo is just at the end of meditation, Medivotion, we don't do like the namaste kind of prayer hands. We do over your heart, because from our heart, we speak in peace to you.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So give us a tour. We come to your site.
All right. You come to the site, you scroll down. It just says the Sanctuary for Medivotion. And then knowing God and knowing self is the premise for all that we do. We're trying to help you to grow, to know who you are, and to know God and how those two go together. I believe these are meditations. Let's see.
Peace, beloved, and welcome to Peace, beloved.
These were the series. So there's
how you
a
guys
series.
doing? It's been a minute since we made a video. We're making some posts, but we figured
and
it's
so
the
these
new
are
year.
I did a series that kind of is the beginning to one of the other books, which is this book. You can't see it. The 7 principles for manifesting in abundance. And it was on our exchanges. So I kind of do some exchanges here and there. Is where I bring up a topic, I say a little bit, and then I ask the people to say some stuff back to me, and we usually kind of have conversations in the DM about the topic. And it's really a lot of Christians had started to go down this road of chakras and crystals and all of the things.
Yeah,
You
that's
gotta be
interesting.
careful. You got to be careful. Who you, like you said, you got to be careful who you let in your mind and in your spirit, and getting the information from. And so I wanted to. Peace Beloved is a safe space for us to have this conversation, because you can't have that conversation in church. And a lot of people are leaving the church, but they still looking for God, and they need a space to be able to do that. And so, so we deal with that kind of stuff, you know.
Cool.
So you go to about, it'll kind of, yeah. So it tells you the mission, which is what I was saying. Really, truly, if we're gonna love others, we have to know how to love ourselves and love God. Otherwise, we're not gonna make it through. And that's really the premise for what we do. And then we've talked about Medivotion.
Yep.
Then it talks about Reiki. And then there's a mini kind of Medivotion session. Medivotion merges a little bit of kind of stretches in the beginning, then a little message from me.
Did you do this yourself?
I did not.
Oh, nice.
I have a friend. Thank you. She is really, really, really amazing in all
give her a shout out.
Her name is Carmen.
Yeah, we need to holler at Carmen.
Huh?
I said we need to holler at Carmen. This is dope.
We do. She's bomb. She a makeup artist. She actually did my makeup for that picture too. Like, she just amazing across the board. All right, so we go down. We'll go down. So this is talking about life coaching and kind of just what we were talking about. The goal for life coaching is still the same. Like, even as you go through every season of your life, there's a chance for you to learn about yourself. And you got to be true to yourself, and be authentic with yourself and the choices that you're making and the goals that you're setting. When we're manifesting, what are we manifesting? And it needs to be, authentic to you. And so it's just going through, and then it's giving you an opportunity to call and ask for any questions and the like.
Got it.
And then that just gives you all of my credentialage, which y'all talked about already.
Okay.
It's pretty
Cool. So then you got all the services here.
All the services. We basically do all of them. That's letting y'all know is they virtual and concierge at the moment. You click services.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Or you might be able to scroll down. Hold
on. Oh.
Scroll down. Yeah, I got you. So you can do private Medivotions and concierge Reikis. Reiki can be virtual. A lot of times for your first time, people like it to be in person, but it can be virtual. You can keep scrolling. And then basically, and that's what we're talking about, the concierges. And with the concierge, I offer yoni steaming and in Medivotions together, and then life coaching consult. Like I said, I believe you should, not only should I tell you what I'm offering, but you should ask me, interview me too. Let's do it. And then the actual sessions, and then there's groups at the bottom, so we can have private parties where you and your friends can do it. We do what's called a blessed circle, a beloved circle at the end of Medivotion, so we can kind of talk and have space. And then you can also do it in work environments as well for businesses and the like. A lot of businesses are trying to promote wellness, and so tapping in together, sharing energy can be a good thing, but you got to be careful who you're sharing with.
Okay, let everybody know how they can contact you.
You can either go on our website and fill that out, or you go to Peace Beloved. Well, not peacebeloved.co, but you can email us at beloved@peacebeloved.co. And then the shop buttons just have the books. I have not put book 3 up yet, but those are the books. They are sold on Amazon, and they are ebooks as well as the paperback versions.
Okay.
And Kindle.
And Kindle. And then the last shop button is, we have a shirt that says Medivotion, the definition for Medivotion.
Okay. Cool.
And that's it.
Cool.
And make sure you guys to also following her on Instagram at
Yes.
peacebeloved419. Again, that's peacebeloved419 on Instagram.
Oh, that's all the things.
Cool. So yeah, man,
Well,
dope conversation.
Yeah. Y'all are
question
awesome.
for you. You have doctor in front of your name.
I
You
do
didn't
have
put
a
doctor
doctor.
in front of your name.
Why didn't I? Oh,
You do.
I need to put doctor in front of my name.
No, I'm saying why didn't you?
I don't know. I tend to. I always think of myself as just Miguel. Really, it's like I have all of these other things. I just be like, I'm just Miguel. You are more than welcome to all the information in my dome. I am okay with giving it away. I don't know.
Right.
I don't always put it there. I feel like it's important.
Verified by God.
Yes.
Right.
It's important in certain spaces. My husband gets on me about it because he's like, you gotta, some people need to know you're a reverend. Some people need to see all the pieces. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I feel like I'm listening.
We're done.
Yes, I am Reverend Dr. Mignelle Douglas.
Reverend Dr. Mignelle Douglas.
That is kind of long. I get it.
Yeah,
that's kind of long. Yeah.
That's a lot. But I am.
All right. So as we get ready to wind this thing down, is there anything that we didn't think to ask you that you'd like to share with the family?
No. I guess what I would say is life is a journey. Your spiritual
Well, don't do that.
God.
Don't do that. I'm gonna give you opportunity. I'm gonna give you opportunity for that one in a second.
My bad then.
Save that one.
I'm good. We talked about books and all the things. Book of service. Call if you have questions. All the things.
All right, cool. So it's on you, Nicely.
So while we're winding it down, I'll have 2 more questions for you. Well, 3 more technically, but we'll start here. The first 2, what does freedom and power mean to you?
Oh. That's a good question. Let's see. Freedom is the ability to move as I was designed to move. And power would be the ability to accomplish all of that.
Right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'll put you on the Summer Jam screen real quick. And
go.
so now the microphone is yours. And the entire Black community is listening. So no pressure, but what parting words would you like to leave us with tonight?
Now I can say what I was about to say. Life is a journey. Take your journey as it is given to you. Don't compromise it for anybody. Don't wish you were anybody else. Own who you are and live in that space. Take your spiritual journey as it needs to go. Don't rush it. Let it be what it needs to be. And take the pit stops where you need to take the pit stops so you can grow and you can become all that you were created to be. Because we all have greatness, not just in us, but driving through us. And God wants to do some amazing things. So take your journey. Peace. I love it.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. All right, man. It's another good episode of the Black Business Showcase. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with our sister Mignelle Douglas, Reverend Dr. Mignelle Douglas. Make sure you follow her at peacebeloved419 on Instagram, or you can visit www.peacebeloved.co. For all of
Thank y'all for having me.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you being here. And shout out to Crown 808 once again.
Yes.
For the alley-oop. Always coming through for the team.
Yes, she does.
I think that's it.
That's it. We are gonna we will obviously not be here tomorrow. I don't know if you're going to do Sunday. I will still be in D.C. because I will be at the Rally for Reparations in Washington, D.C. with the FBA family. I am so excited to see you all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if I can, to my family out there. So if y'all can send prayers of traveling grace for everybody in the FBA family that's going to be going to D.C. And I just hope that we have a very successful rally. You know, no drama, but definitely pushing our message, getting our message across and heard, and getting these tangibles that we need for our people. So.
Show needed. So yeah, big up to that. Big up to the whole Rally for Reparations team, everybody putting that thing together, everybody that's going to be in attendance. Get all the pictures and videos and stuff, and I'll try to go live with you if we can get on the same page with that, so we can see what's going on with you down there. Most likely I'm still gonna do the broadcast on Sunday, but Friday I'm gonna be on our brother Knowledge Bonds, do the Knowledge Radio. Do the Knowledge Radio. I'm doing an interview over there on Friday on the research question: does the hip hop industry owe reparations to Black people? That is the question that I will be answering on Friday. So tap in with my brother Knowledge Born over at Do the Knowledge Radio. Subscribe to the channel and set your reminder for that episode. I think it's 8:00 on Friday. I'll be on there. So check me out over there on Friday, and most likely I'll be back here on Sunday. Other than that, you guys know where to catch me. I'm at Sincere Love to God on all social media platforms. Make sure that y'all are following me and my sister at nyctegur with the #1 on Instagram and without the #1 on Twitter. And that does it for today's episode of the Black Business Showcase. Appreciate everybody tapping in with us live. If you're watching this on the replay, be sure to like this video. Be sure to share it out on your social media platforms. And if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you're watching this on Twitter or Facebook, make sure you head on over to YouTube and click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes. This is Sincere Love the Godcast. And remember, we are not the master teachers, but we are the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. Peace and Black love.
Peace.
Most resilient, we poster children of prophecy fulfillment. We got